Before the mid-60s, Americans had never heard the term SUV, but the Ford Motor Company changed all that. In 1966, the new Bronco was an instant hit when it first rolled off the assembly line. Now, a group of craftsmen in this small shop is looking to rekindle that 50-year-old spark. They're bringing new life to an original Bronco and giving it modern-day technology underneath. Their mission? Make an American legend even better. You only get one chance to make a first impression, and with any car build or restoration, the first thing people check out is the body. Right now, Martin, Tony, and the bodywork team are focusing on a right front fender that just won't cooperate.
But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to fix that because this would take a week to get.
But they don't have a week. To get this Bronco done on time, the crew has to stay on schedule.
Let's go to the plan A, if not, with the plan B. And then if not, let's go to plan C. You know what the plan C it is?
No.
Leave it right there and go home. Thank God for my father showed me how to do old school, because before this old school, he called them old school. When sometimes you don't have a part, found part, you need to fabricate it and you fabricate it with your hands. I think right there. For so many, I started in collision. I worked for so many years in Chicago doing restoration, a lot.
Martin is the type of teacher that as long as you're willing to listen and learn, he's willing to teach you anything that you're willing to learn.
Okay, perfecto.
He's also the type of guy that sometimes you feel like, oh, again, but it always comes with a purpose because he will always try to teach you why we're doing it that way and why not the other way, or why should we use a certain tool instead of other tools, because it's like he said, sometimes he had done it before and he always struggled other ways, I guess, and he's always found easier, better way. And
push, no, pull it. Wait,
ready?
Okay, give me a second. Ready?
Yeah. Sometimes he lets us go through it the hard way until we go back and we do it, and then he'll be like, all right, did you learn something? And I'll be like, yeah, you're completely right. It makes things a lot easier.
He made a little bit more lip right here, you see?
Yeah, I did kind of feel a little bit more like it loosened up as I pull in.
He's the guy that you could most definitely feel like he'll give you your chances, but he'll still be there to guide you whenever you need to be guided.
Okay, I think that's it. Ay, caramba.
A man tying it.
Yes, a real man. Woo. High training. It is good. I think I'm a good teacher. Yeah. But it's a good student, because in this job you learn every day. In this job you can, and no matter what car it is, and no matter what you do, you learn something always, every day. Every day you learn. I mean, you're working for the 67, maybe you're working all your life in the same car, but I guarantee you every day, you found something and then you learn something. And the same car you're working for so many years. You never finish to learn. What do you think?
Oh man.
It worked?
Okay, close it up, yeah.
So now, it is like, move it up, this one right here.
Uh-huh.
And do the same thing.
Let's talk horsepower. Just on the other side of this break, Richard shows us the new engine technology that'll make this Bronco even better than the original. And the body guys continue to hone the Bronco to near perfection.
Brand new muscle car Classic Bronco is brought to you by Rust Release, the safe industrial strength rust remover that works. Kicker Performance Audio, living loud. And by Tom's Bronco Parts, the largest inventory around of 66 to 77 Ford Bronco parts and accessories.
Tulsa. The name is Creek Indian for Old Town. It may be an old town, but it's full of new ideas, like the crew here at Brand New Muscle Car. Starting with nothing but a vintage body, they're creating a Ford Bronco packed with modern technology. And nowhere is that more evident than in the tech that's going under the hood.
One of my favorite vendors to help put the muscle in Brand New Muscle Car is Dickey. And they're in Lubbock, Texas. They're a huge parts house, and they help us out with our crate motors. And they supplied the Coyote motor for this. They do GM, they do Ford. I mean, these guys have it all. If you need a crate motor, they're the great place to go. And I love calling those guys. And they know their motors. They have a speed shop. They build motors. They sell crate motors. They tune them. They dyno them. I just can't say enough about working with those guys.
Well, Dickey Parts Center has been in business now for 90 years. This is our 90th year to celebrate business under one family. The Parts Center itself is a large operation that covers both retail, wholesale, business to business, and we service not only the OE replacement parts, but the performance industry also. So we're your one-stop shop. We're excited to be a part of this Bronco build. Ford Performance offers a large variety of crate engines. That Coyote engine is a great base to start with. But here at Dickey, we don't have just Ford, we have Mopar Performance and Chevrolet Performance. So whatever your needs are, we can take care of it. We have over 1,000 crate engines in stock, so most crate engines can ship the same day you order it, and service from freight companies is very fast. You'd be surprised. We can service almost anywhere in the 48 states in 2 to 3 days. Dickey Parts Center prides itself on technical knowledge from all brands. We love to be involved in the thought process of what you want to do to build your project. Is it a Jeep, or your four-wheel driving, or your autocrossing, drag racing? Whatever it is you do, we want to know the entire project so that we can provide the engine, powertrain components, or the replacement parts that you need that fit what you want to do. Dickey relies on customer service and word of mouth. You know, we're not the kind of company that wants to hunt you down to get you to buy something from us. We want people to tell you about the experience they had here, about the questions that were answered, the problems that were resolved, that the customers saw first-rate service, that what they got was an experience that we want to describe as perfection.
Let's talk a minute about engines. We have 2 engines here, 65 model, 289, 302. Over here, Gen 2, 5-liter Coyote. Old school, new school. Now, the only thing that these 2 engines share is displacement. 302 cubic inch, 5 liters, and the bell housing, bolt patterning on the back is the same. Other than that, virtually as far apart as the universe could be. We'll start with this side over here. They use this engine, 65, all the way up into the early 90s. This particular one here is 302 crate motor, and this is what you would find in an early V8 Bronco. It's got a couple of small upgrades, a nicer carburetor on it, 600 Holley, got aluminum intake, HEI distributor, and then we have the Coyote engine. Now this engine, even though it's quite a bit bigger in physical size, they actually weigh pretty close to the same, probably within about 10 pounds of each other. The reason why is materials. Over here, cast iron block, cast iron cylinder heads. This is all aluminum, phenolic intake, phenolic valve covers. Phenolic, it's plastic, drastic weight reductions. The second thing is going to be machine work or tolerances. Old school stuff was put together pretty loose, and that's why back in the day you had to use 10W30, 20W50 oil. The bearing clearances, the ring clearances, rocker gear clearances, all that was much larger. Here, right on the cap, says 5W20 oil. The oil weight is cut nearly in half. The reason why is this engine is built to way tighter specifications. It frees up a lot of extra horsepower, reduces heat, reduces friction. The technology is way beyond what we've got going on over here. The third thing is technology. We have this nice big phenolic intake with a throttle body. There's no gasoline that goes through this intake. It's a dry intake versus the old school intake, which is what we call a wet intake, where the gasoline and the air go through the carburetor, through the intake manifold, and into the cylinder head. Probably got 8, maybe 10 miles to the gallon in the truck. This engine in our Bronco is probably going to get in the high 20s on gas mileage. This engine over here has 1 cam. This engine has 4 cams. And on the front, you have cam phasers. The computer runs those, and they can actually advance and retard the camshafts to meet the engine's needs. Then we get to horsepower. It's around 200 horsepower, maybe a little bit more with a couple little upgrades we did. A little over 200 foot-pounds of torque. Over here, 360 horsepower and a whopping 380 foot-pounds of torque. That's over 180 foot-pounds more torque. And this is what makes a four-wheel drive vehicle work. You want all that torque down low when you're trying to creep around the rocks and trying to pick your way through. And then it still makes good horsepower when you're wanting to run through mud, sand, or whatever, and it does it all seamlessly. Smack the pedal and it goes.
Do not go anywhere. The Body Guys apply some finesse to the bodywork. And we check out a vintage Bronco that's pretty in pink.
Learn more about the Ford Bronco story in Todd Zerker's new book. Get your copy of Ford Bronco, A History of Ford's Legendary 4x4 at cartechbooks.com and at popular retailers in-store and online.
This is a 1969 Ford Bronco that my dad purchased back in 1981 when I was 12 years old, and I had already started doing some off-road driving near our rural town by then, and so soon after he bought it, I started driving it and started kind of thinking it was mine, even though it really wasn't. And 38 years later, here we are still driving it and enjoying it. It's got almost 362,000 miles on it now. Great member of the family that we use for everything from occasional commuting to exploring the backcountry of southwestern U.S. I consider it every time I get to drive it just to be a real treat because life is so busy these days. And we've had so many adventures together, you know, and boy, if it could talk, it would have a lot of stories to tell. And it allows me to get into a lot of neat places where there aren't other people and other people haven't gone. Neat historical places throughout Arizona and other states that are really things that give me a lot of happiness. And we've been able to do a lot of fun things together over the last almost 4 decades.
Like Todd Zerker's Bronco, the owner of this classic Bronco wants to drive it. Thanks to new and improved suspension and big tires, it'll be a capable off-roader. And thanks to the Body Guys, this Bronco will look great too.
Gilbert, giving us a hand. Okay, mijo, please. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I got safe, right. Okay.
Ready?
Okay, a little bit more. But you know what? Wait. Let me call Michelle. I need to grab somebody this one. I don't feel comfortable with this. Michelle. Michelle. You give me a hand, Flaca, please. Let's only grab the hood and this to make sure it does not fall down in his head. Okay. So I got it right there. So do it. Do it. Okay. One more. I mean, like, that's why I try to go like...
Almost straight up?
Yes. Okay. 1, 2. Give me another. Okay. Give me one more. Good one. Okay. Okay. Ready? Yep. Grab this one.
Oh, shoot.
Now, it's nice. Yes, a little adjustment right here in the corner. And then he got that perfect height. Perfect everything. Ready to go.
Sounds
Okay.
looks
Lunch?
beautiful.
Lunch?
Sounds good to me.
That's good to me. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you, Michelle. Another thing done. Let's go to lunch.
There's still lots more to do in Tulsa. Martin and Tony work their magic on the body, and we check out a timeless beauty you're going to love. All that when brand new muscle car classic Bronco continues.
Brand new muscle car classic Bronco is brought to you by Wild Horses 4x4. Isn't it time you answered the call of the wild? Rhino Hitch, the most versatile adjustable hitch on the market. And by No Limit Engineering. We build them, we drive them, and we test them.
So I bought it when I was 18. I'm 23 now. I bought it from my stepdad. He had a yard full of routing away ones, you know, the usual. I'm gonna fix that one day. But he parted with this one. It was in really, really bad shape. Sat for 10 years, was used as a plow truck before. I took it down to the frame, took the whole body off of it, redid the frame, put a 3.5-inch lift on it, and 33-inch boggers. Then the old body was in such bad shape I had to find a new one. So from the windshield back, it's actually an older 66, 67 maybe. The only thing I used from the original body was the grille. The rear quarters are new. I had ordered them online and they came. They weren't so very nice. They were supposed to be stamped metal, but it was full Bondo. So I sanded that all the way down to bare metal, and there's just minimal fiberglass. The flares on it are the same as what the front are, so it's a nice smooth look. All new wiring, all new everything else basically is in there. Like, my stepdad is a mechanic, and so I learned a lot of my mechanical skills that way. And then my boyfriend does body work, so he helped me out a little bit with that and kind of told me like what I needed to do and how to do it. And he helped some, and I actually didn't paint it because I didn't know how to paint and I didn't want to mess that up because it's a big part. So his brother actually painted it for me. So my original goal was just to get it out on the street, to be able to drive it. As I kept going further with it, I was like, no, I gotta make it perfect. I gotta make it perfect. It's not perfect, but it's way more than what I ever thought it was gonna be. So I still have some wiring to do with it, and I don't wanna put a roll cage in it yet, but I'm pretty close.
Pretty close? Well, not so much with our classic 66, but the body guys are making progress, working the contours of the Bronco to make everything fit even better than the original did when it was brand new.
Those gotta go that way.
He needs to go this way?
Yeah.
Okay. And the moment you push this way,
Yeah.
I got a lot of room in here.
Oh, wow.
How about right here?
Yeah, I would have to push that way.
You live in one bolt in here, right?
Yeah, there's a bolt right there.
I see so many cars when you see the doors with the fenders or the fenders with the quarter panels, and then he got horrible gaps. That one is not. It's part of me. I just want to try to make it nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that helped it.
This size is not so bad. It's almost a little bit, like almost a 1/8. But this
side.
little bit. It is simple body. I put it like that. It's a simple body. It's not like crazy, but it's a simple body. It's easy to fix it, but comparable with another cars, yeah. Ay.
Yeah.
Ay.
Once we start getting the fitting and all that, you start seeing certain things or certain issues that we, got to take care of. It's just the way it is. You got to sometimes be prepared for anything when you come to this type of industry.
Good. I love German tools, yes.
Every time we got to put on and take off a certain piece at least 5 times, it's frustrating. But to know that once the car is painted and getting ready to build and everything's just falling in exactly how it needs to fall in, you say it was worth it. It is how it's likely going to be.
It looks like it kind of bended out a little bit, so every time he's trying to pull it in, it keeps rubbing off of here. It's just not letting it sit right.
So let me try this one.
He's very driven. He likes things the way Martin likes things. To do it Martin's way, sometimes it takes longer. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. He wants his gaps a certain way. He wants the panel to look a certain way. And where a lot of people would go, it's not worth a couple of hours to do that, well, Martin will spend that time to do that. It might look insignificant, and the customer will probably never know how much of that little stuff that he fixes, because you just can't see it. But if you don't do it, then you do see it, and that's just how he is.
See good. I say close. I never say perfect. Nobody is perfect. The best idea is try to push the grill, push it a little bit out, and then try to make them flush with the fender.
Okay.
When you got your career, and then you see finish your work, you feel happy. I mean, I feel happy. Kick him a little bit. More. Hit him.
Yeah.
Ah, too much.
Right now, kind of like when we pulled this off and everything, how we all seen it wasn't fitting. So he kind of seems to sometimes come out with some different type of tricks. Kind of like I wouldn't think too much of it, to be honest.
The grill move, the hole enough Mitch.
But the way he's been teaching me past these years, I started noticing that no matter what, you still got some tricks up his sleeves. We still have a gap up here, but we were able to close down here. The good thing about working with this metal is that he could probably be able to work with it, so without having to fabricate too much or pulling on it or adding bond on it. I mean, he's trying to make it the best way he can with the metal itself instead of doing it with material first. So, I mean, he surprised me a lot with some of the stuff that he comes up with. That's why you never stop learning.
Woo. Beautiful, beautiful.
Come back next week for the next edition of Brand New Muscle Car. The crew puts the finishing touches on the Bronco body, and they get it ready to send it over to the painters.
Michelle, give me a hand in here.
Every single time.